You ain't got that going for me, which is nice. Not, I'm not jumping immediately.
Many people, too many to count, in criminal court. And I'm getting ready to show you a case where
Dumb girl.
I'm telling you,
Dumb girl.
you should never do what this woman did during her sentencing. Never. If you find yourself in the unfortunate position of having to stand before a judge during sentencing, never, ever do what this lady did. Now, this is a fascinating story. It's a sad story
screamed.
of a 68-year-old woman receiving a long prison sentence. 68 years old. She brought it completely upon herself.
She tried to get a
both
20
inside and outside the courtroom. Now, we'll get into this and explain to you what I'm talking about. Okay, so before we get into this, please go over to Amazon.com, grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice, so that you'll have a tool in your possession on how you can help your African-American son come through public schools and get the very best education that he to try to prove that the election had been stolen from Trump. And exactly what she did to try and help Trump prove that is what she was ultimately found guilty of. So I'm going to play you some video here in just a second, but I want you to see what the woman was accused of doing. So at trial, she was convicted of helping an outsider, Conan Hayes, a former professional surfer turned technology wizard, to gain unauthorized access to one of Mesa County's Dominion machines in May 2021. Remember, Fox News had to pay Dominion machines a lot of money for defaming the company. Remember that? I mean, a lot of money.
Yes, they did.
So this woman, she helped this man, Conan Hayes, capture county passwords and sensitive data about Dominion's proprietary software that showed up 3 months later at an event questioning the results of the election hosted by Mike Lindell.
I hope bad things befall him in jail.
That is this guy, the so-called Pillow guy.
I wish bad
the founder
things would befall
of the
him.
betting company My Pillow, who is a prolific purveyor of election lies. This was reported by the New York Times. All right, so she basically allows someone to gain access to the election data for Mesa County in Colorado. And for that, she was found guilty, and she received a long prison sentence for her participation in trying to prove that the election was stolen from Trump. But it's what she did in court during sentencing that made things so much worse for her. She would have gotten a much lower sentence, maybe not even sentence at all to prison. But the way she behaved in court, don't do that. Don't do that.
Everyone
and as an attorney,
affiliated with
this
MAGA.
is what I saw when I looked.
If you are affiliated with MAGA, if you support MAGA, if you vote MAGA, if you buy MAGA merch, you deserve all the bad things in the world to happen to you.
At the story, other people are just, laughing, or they're angry about what happened. The judge was very vocal about his displeasure with the way she handled this situation. But he was also very displeased at the way she handled herself in court. Typically, during sentencing, the defendant is begging for his or her life. I mean, begging. We're putting forth, I can't tell you how many times I've been in this situation, because typically trials have two phases: the guilt and innocence phase, and then if there is a guilty verdict, then you go into the second phase, which is the sentencing, right? And during the sentencing, it is full stop trying to keep your client from going to prison. You throw everything you can in front of the judge. You typically need to show remorse. You need to show that you're sorry for what you did. You don't need to try to relitigate the case, because at this point, the judge has your freedom in his or her hand.
Yes.
So you should
you're already
be
fucked.
humble.
You're
you should
already
be begging for your life.
Your neck is
Especially
already in
when
the
you're
noose.
68 years old and you're facing all this prison time. But that is not what this woman did. And this is the real story. So let me play this video for you and you'll see for yourself.
When you're on the receiving end of a criminal trial, it doesn't matter what you think. All that matters is what the judge thinks.
I switched from State Farm because of this site.
Good.
They had me paying $163 a month for my new car, and I got a rate for just $86. Full coverage.
Uh-huh. Okay. Whatever you say, lady.
It's with a heavy heart that I hear the vile accusations and the anger levied against me for what I did to serve the people of Mesa County.
Whoa.
You know, maintaining my innocence
brain is broken.
not
Her
disrespect
brain
for the law.
is broken.
I
Her
respect the
brain
jury verdict
is broken.
based on the evidence that they were allowed to hear.
Brain
There's much that they
is
weren't allowed to hear. All right, I'm going to move along.
Is broken.
So
Her
she's starting
brain
out wrong.
is broken.
She's starting out wrong.
Her brain is so
Wow.
broken.
She is
brain
completely
is so
starting
broken.
this thing out completely wrong, maintaining her innocence, relitigating
Maintaining
her
she's
case.
stupid.
And then she said to the judge, I respect the jury's opinion based on what they were allowed to hear. They were not allowed to hear a whole lot of evidence. She is basically throwing shade at the judge at that point, because he's the one who decided what was admissible and what was not admissible. So she is basically saying, you were unfair to me, judge. You did not treat me right. What you did was not legal. And
Ooh.
that's the reason why I'm in this
Good.
situation.
Give her 9 more
Oh,
years.
that is the worst way, absolutely. If you
Give
know
her
what,
9
you
more
wait until
every time.
the appeal and you argue that to
Give
the
her
appellate
9
court. You don't
more
tell the
every
judge to his face
time.
that what he did, his rulings and so on, are erroneous and an abuse of discretion and an abuse of his power and all of that.
In the machine, whatever it tabulates is. Man,
Sorry?
I'm not going to let you
Okay,
go
that's
on
fine.
about things that are completely irrelevant to the sentence.
This is
No, it's not. I've let you go on enough about this, but the votes are the votes. You still didn't answer the question. If this is my ballot and I put it in the machine, whatever it tabulates is whatever it tabulates.
No, it doesn't. It changes.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay,
Whatever
please.
it tabulates is whatever it tabulates. My hand vote, my ballot remains the same. They counted those ballots.
I
Did they
understand.
not?
I understand what you're saying,
Did
Your
they
Honor.
count the ballots?
No, the ballot images were changed, and that's what the total shows. Okay, I'll move off of this because I can.
People like her cause good people to go to jail for 4th-degree assault. If he picked up the biggest, heaviest thing on his desk and flung it directly at her head with all of his strength, he'd still be a hero. He'd be more of a hero.
See that it, you know, I would encourage to read the report number 3.
I've read them, ma'am.
You've read all of them?
I've read those reports. They were given to me at some point, I believe.
Good, good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true.
No.
All right, let me move on. It's not funny. My life is on the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who's making this allegation that, one,
It's
I think
not
it's
an
funny,
allegation.
and two, that I know it's true. You're saying that as if I believe you, and I did not say that.
Okay,
That is
all
why
right.
I made the sound, because it's insulting to me for you to just put that in a record in front of all of these people that I believe something to be true.
Okay, and I apologize for that, Your Honor. That wasn't my intent.
Yes,
I
it was.
apologize for
Yes,
that.
it was. Yes, it. No. Yes, it was her intent. Because MAGA has attracted all the trashiest, most worst, most low-life people. She intended to do that. That was her intent, because that's the kind of awful creatures they are. They're not even human. just these entities of malevolence.
It gets a little fiery when your life is on the line, and I apologize.
So wow.
What an
She's
idiot.
standing there during sentencing. She's already been found guilty by the jury. The case has already been litigated. There's nothing that she can say at this point to the judge to get past that guilty verdict. And instead of standing there and pleading for her case and showing...
And Ms. Peters in particular has remained quite defiant. The defense has, and Ms. Peters in particular, has remained quite defiant, which is her right, but certainly not helpful for her lot today. After your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. You don't have those histories of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no lifetime of trauma, not even close to the type of mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks.
See, here he's trying to explain to her that you are this privileged, proud, defiant, arrogant woman. You don't have the typical issues of people who are sitting in that very chair and are begging for their lives because they have substance abuse issues. They were raised in very bad neighborhoods, and bad families, and mental health issues, and all of those things that we share with the court during sentencing, during the punishment phase, to get sympathy from the court. She has none of that. And
there are many things.
There, his name is Jack Hibbs, I think. Jack Hibbs. Yeah, there's a fellow out there by the name of Jack Hibbs, and Jack Hibbs is sort of like a TV evangelist, TV preacher, TV Christian leader. Okay, and the other day, no, this was a couple weeks ago actually, so it wasn't the other day, but a couple of weeks ago, he was on, and there was a video of him talking about voting for Democrats, and what he said came down to basically this: if you vote Democrat, you're going to have to answer to God for that. God's going to be displeased.
That's
and you're
backwards.
going to stand in judgment.
That's
for
backwards.
voting for a Democrat. So again, it's language to scare Christians into voting for his guy. It's not in any way, shape, or form based on any kind of fact.
Because you're
It's not even based on any, like, it's certainly not based on any theology that you are going to be judged for who you vote for. And I mean that. It doesn't matter which party. There's nothing biblically that says by casting a vote for one party or the other, or any party, you're going to have to answer to God for your political decisions. That's not important to God. What's important to God is what's in your heart. We've talked about this ad nauseum for a good reason, because it's true. What matters is what's in your heart. So when you cast that vote, why did you vote for that person? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to assume everybody who votes, it's a huge assumption, I know, and it's probably wrong, but I'm going to, for the sake of this talk, everyone who votes because they believe this candidate is the one who has the best plan. I know it sounds crazy as I say it, but we want the best for our country. We want the best for our region. We want the best for our city, for our province, for our state, whatever it is we happen to be voting about. We want the best. And so we're voting for the person that we think is going to give the best for our country, going to do the best for our country. Is going to be the best person for this job because we want the best for our country. I'm going to assume everybody, that's the assumption. Everybody wants the best for their country. So no, God isn't going to punish you because you voted Democrat. And God isn't going to punish you because you voted Republican. God isn't going to punish you because you voted liberal or conservative or Green Party or NDP or whatever.